The sun was high above Earth Defense Academy. It was a special training center where the best young people trained to join space missions. The academy was filled with noise, people shouting, boots hitting the ground, metal weights clanking. New group of recruits arrived that morning. Among them was a quiet woman named Mira. She had short dark hair and calm eyes. She didn't talk much. She wore a plain training suit and carried no fancy gear like others. She walked with soft steps and stood alone while others laughed and talked. Coach Brand noticed her from a distance. He was a tall, strong man with a deep voice. He had trained soldiers for years. He didn't like quiet people. To him, quiet meant weak. He whispered to his assistant, "Look at that one. Like a lost cat. Probably won't last a week." The assistant laughed. "You're probably right, Coach." Later that day, Coach Brand stood before the new recruits. "Welcome to Earth Defense Academy," he shouted. "I'm Coach Brand. I'll break you, train you, and maybe, just maybe, some of you will become real defenders of this planet." He walked down the line, staring at each face. When he reached Mira, he paused. "What's your name, quiet one?" he asked. "Mira," she said softly. "Speak up." Brand barked. "Myra," she repeated, a bit louder but still calm. Brand frowned. "You ever fight before?" Mira looked at him. "Yes," he laughed. "You don't look like it. You'll start with the lowest group. Maybe learn how to stand straight first." The other recruits chuckled. Mira stayed silent. One of the recruits, a boy named Toma, felt bad. He watched Mira during the first warm-up drills. While others struggled to balance or move right, Mira's movements were smooth, controlled. She wasn't just fit. She was focused. That evening, while others were joking around, Toma sat next to her on a bench. "Hey, I'm Toma," he said. Mira nodded politely. "You're really good at balance drills." He said, "Where'd you train before this?" She looked ahead and simply said, "Different places." He smiled. "Cool. You don't talk much, do you?" She gave a small smile. "Only when needed." Toma laughed. "Fair enough." The next morning, Coach Brand gathered everyone in the gym. "Today we begin real training. And we'll start with what I call testing the weak," he said. The recruits looked at each other, unsure what that meant. Brand continued, "We'll have some friendly sparring. I'll pick pairs. It'll help me see who's strong and who needs to go back to the nursery." People laughed again. He looked at his chart, then said, "Okay, first match, Ryan and Mira." Ryan was a tall, strong guy with big arms. He grinned and cracked his knuckles. Mira simply walked forward and bowed slightly, following training rules. Brand looked at Mira and smirked. "You sure about this? You can still sit down if you want." Mira said nothing. She just stepped into position. Brand blew the whistle. Ryan came at her fast, trying to grab her shoulders. But Mira moved sideways with ease. She turned, stepped behind him, and with a quick motion, used her leg to trip him and bring him to the floor. It happened in less than 5 seconds. Ryan blinked, surprised. "What was that?" Brand stood shocked. Again, they reset. This time Ryan was more careful. He circled around her. He charged low. Mira dodged, caught his arm, twisted, and locked it while bringing him down again. This time the room went silent. Brand's jaw tightened. "Enough. That's enough." Ryan sat up, breathing hard. "She's really good." Mira helped him stand. "Thanks for the match," she said softly. Brand turned to the rest of the recruits. "That doesn't mean anything. Anyone can get lucky." He looked at Myra with narrowed eyes. "You and I will have a session next week. Let's see if you can do that to me." Mira only nodded. Toma looked amazed. "Where did you learn that?" He asked her later. Myra just replied, "It's just practice." That night, while others trained or talked loudly, Toma sat in his room and searched Mira's name on the Academy's private net. After a few tries, he found an old news article. His eyes widened. Myra Nalim, national Jiu-Jitsu champion. Undefeated for 4 years, disappeared from competition at 21, Toma whispered. She's not just good. She's the best ... He looked at her photo in the article. Same calm eyes. Same quiet face. He looked out the window toward the training hall. Mira was still practicing alone slow movements. Perfect form. She didn't show off. She didn't brag. She didn't even correct others. She had come here for something bigger. Coach Brand stood in the gym with a sour expression. His arms were crossed as he watched Mira train alone on the far side. She moved slowly, with full control, as if she were dancing with invisible wind. It annoyed him. He wasn't angry because she had won. He was angry because he didn't know how she won so easily. The other recruits kept glancing at Mira, whispering to each other. No one laughed at her now. Even Ryan, the strong guy she defeated, seemed careful around her. Toma, on the other hand, couldn't stop thinking about what he had read last night. He waited until Mira finished her solo drills. You were a champion, weren't you? He asked softly. Mira looked at him but said nothing. Toma smiled. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. But I think Coach Brand made a mistake. Mira finally replied, I didn't come here to prove anything. I just want to be useful. Toma nodded. Still, I hope you'll show him what quiet strength really means. Later that week, Brand called everyone to the center of the training hall. All right, listen up. We've had a lot of lazy sparring and soft punches. That ends now. Today, we do full contact training, no holding back. He looked directly at Mira. And as promised, I'll be stepping in the ring myself. I'll show you all how a real fighter moves, the recruits murmured among themselves. Some were nervous, others excited. Most knew what was really happening. Coach Brand wanted revenge for his bruised pride. Brand walked to the mat in the middle of the gym. He wore a tight black training suit and tied a red band around his wrist. Mira, he said, pointing at her, let's go. Time for your big test. Mira stood, bowed slightly, and walked to the mat. Toma whispered to a friend. He has no idea. The coach smiled at her with cold confidence. No running, no hiding. This is real sparring. Understood? Yes, Mira replied calmly. Brand circled her. The whistle blew. He charged. He threw a quick punch toward her shoulder, fast and heavy. Mira leaned sideways just enough to avoid it. Brand stepped back, surprised. Then he came again too quick. Jabs and a wide sweep with his leg. Mira bent low, ducked, grabbed his sweeping leg gently, and spun. Brand lost balance and landed hard on the mat. Gasps echoed around the hall. He got up fast, his face red. Lucky move, he muttered. Round 2. Brand tried to use his full strength. He aimed for Mira's side with strong arms. Mira dodged, then stepped behind him. In one smooth motion, she locked his elbow, pulled down, and swept his foot again. He crashed a second time. This time, the gym went completely silent. Even the assistant coach looked shocked. Brand lay there for a second, breathing hard, staring at the ceiling. Then he sat up slowly. Mira stepped back and waited respectfully. Toma whispered. She didn't even break a sweat. Brand stood, hands on hips. He looked at Mira and said nothing for a moment. Finally he asked, Where did you learn that? Mira answered simply, Years of practice. Brand nodded, finally understanding. You were holding back. Even with Mira didn't answer. Brand turned to the recruits. Let this be a lesson to all of you. Power means nothing without control. And noise means nothing without skill. The room stayed quiet. Then Brand looked back at Mira. You're leading tomorrow's advanced drills. Show them what you know. That evening, Mira sat under a small tree beside the training center. Toma brought 2 bottles of water and handed her one. You handled that well, he said. I don't enjoy hurting people, she replied. You didn't hurt anyone. You just opened eyes. Mira sipped the water. When I was younger, I thought winning medals would be enough. But in real life, quiet strength matters more. People think talking louder means being strong. But it doesn't. Toma smiled. Well, I think you just taught the whole academy that. Suddenly, a shadow fell over them. It was Commander Hallen, a tall woman with silver hair and serious eyes. She had watched the match from a high balcony. She looked at Mira with a small smile. That was impressive. Mira stood and bowed. Thank you, Commander. Tell me something, Hallen said. Why join the academy when you were already a champion? Mira answered without pause. Champions win matches. But defenders protect people. Hallen raised an eyebrow, then nodded. Good answer. I'll be watching your next drill closely. She walked away. Toma stared at Mira. That's the first time I've ever seen the commander smile. Mira just looked at the stars. Next morning, Mira led the advanced training drill. Recruits of all levels joined. Even Coach Brand stood at the side, watching quietly. Mira showed basic self-defense movements, balance techniques, and how to use an opponent's strength against them. Everyone followed her movements. They listened carefully. They asked questions. And for the first time, Mira spoke more. She explained gently. She corrected with respect. Even the aliens training at the academy watched through the observation windows. Her calmness reached beyond words. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't demand attention. But everyone listened. Because now they all knew the quiet woman was not just strong. She was unstoppable. Word about Mira spread quickly through the academy. Nobody was laughing anymore. She had taken down the strongest cadet, then the coach himself, and she did it without showing off. Every movement she made was smooth, calm, and focused. Some called her the silent storm. Others just stared with respect when she walked by. But Mira didn't change. She still trained alone after class, still helped others quietly when needed, and still avoided attention. Toma, however, couldn't stop thinking about what he had learned. He waited until break time and then pulled out a tablet. Look at this, he whispered to two other cadets. On the screen was a video clip of an old Jiu-Jitsu match. Mira was younger but looked the same: calm eyes, silent steps, perfect moves. The title said, National Championship Final. Mira Nalim wins in 23 seconds. The others stared. One said, why didn't she tell anyone? Toma replied, she didn't come here for fame. She came to serve. Just then, Coach Brand walked past and saw the video. He stopped and looked at the screen for a long moment. Then, slowly he nodded. No wonder she flipped me like paper. That evening, Brand called Mira into his office. She entered quietly and stood at attention. Brand didn't shout this time. He just pointed to a chair. Sit. Mira sat down. Brand leaned forward on the desk. You were a national champion. Why didn't you say anything during enrollment? I didn't think it mattered, she replied. Brand raised an eyebrow. Didn't matter? I'm not here to win medals, Mira said. I want to be ready for real fights, the kind where people's lives depend on it. Brand leaned back in his chair. He looked at her carefully. You're better than me. I'll admit it, but you're also humble. That's rare. Mira said nothing. Brand continued, Commander Hallen wants to see you spar again, not against me. Against someone tougher. A visiting alien warrior. Mira finally looked curious. Alien? Yes, Brand said. A sparring match between Earth cadets and an alien species. Friendly match, but serious. When? 2 days. Mira nodded. I'll be ready. The next day, everyone in the academy was talking about the upcoming match. The aliens were called the Zarnak, tall and powerful beings with 4 arms and thick armor-like skin. They had been allies of Earth for 5 years, but training with them was rare. This is going to be insane, one cadet said. Their warriors are like living tanks. Yeah, another added. No way Mira can flip one of them. Toma shook his head. You'll see. Mira spent the whole day studying alien anatomy on the Academy's learning system. She watched footage of Zarnak movement, battle posture, and weak points. She didn't show off. She didn't talk. But every second, she was focused. That night, she practiced new techniques with a dummy, adding changes to her usual moves to match a larger opponent. Toma watched from the corner of the room and whispered, "She's not just strong. She's smart." Finally, the day of the match arrived. The gym was packed. Even officers and scientists came to watch. Commander Helen sat in the front row beside a tall Zarnak general with glowing red eyes. The alien warrior stepped onto the mat. He was huge, almost twice Myra's size. His name was Gervan, and his arms were like tree trunks. But he bowed respectfully and waited. Mira stepped in next. She wore a simple training suit and had tied her hair back. No fear in her eyes, just calm focus. Bran stood between them. "This is a friendly spar. Do not harm each other. Show skill, not power." Both nodded. Bran stepped back. The whistle blew. Gervan made the first move. He swung one of his four arms toward Mira's shoulder. Fast and heavy. Mira ducked under and spun sideways. Another arm came, but she slipped past it. She didn't attack. She watched, measured, waited. Gervan moved again, this time faster. A low grab aimed at her waist. Mira bent, turned, caught his wrist, and used her entire body to pull. She twisted with perfect timing and made the alien stumble. Then, with a sharp turn and step, she used one of his own arms against another and locked his upper body. Gervan struggled for a second, then tapped the mat. Match over. The gym exploded in cheers and gasps. Mira let go and stepped back, bowing respectfully. Gervan stood up slowly. Then, to everyone's surprise, he dropped to one knee before Mira and said in a deep voice, "Respect to the small warrior. Your control is greater than force." Commander Helen smiled. Bran's mouth fell open slightly. Mira bowed back. "Thank you for the match." After the match, the Academy was buzzing. For the first time, a human cadet had defeated a Zarnak warrior in a fair spar. Mira became known not just in the Academy, but across the interplanetary network. Messages came from other bases. Who is Mira? Can she train our officers? Earth's champion has returned. But Mira didn't care about fame. She walked back to her room, the same way she had on the first day, quiet and focused. Toma met her at the door. "That was incredible," he said. Mira smiled a little. "He was strong, but every opponent has a rhythm." Toma shook his head. "You're a legend now." "I'm just a cadet," she said. Inside the commander's office, Helen spoke with Bran. "She's not just skilled," Helen said. "She's leader material." Bran nodded. "I mocked her once. I won't make that mistake again." "She be needed soon," Helen added. "The real missions are coming." The sun was rising over Earth Defense Academy. The air was cool, but the energy in the training grounds was warm with excitement. Mira's match against the Zarnak warrior had changed everything. For the first time, the recruits didn't look at her as just the quiet girl. They looked at her as a real leader. Some even whispered her name with respect when she walked by. Others followed her training routines from a distance, copying her stretches, stances, and movements. Even Coach Bran was different. Since the match, he hadn't shouted once. He watched Mira quietly now, eyes thoughtful. He had mocked her when she arrived, but now he was learning from her. He stood at the edge of the training mats, arms folded, eyes focused. Bran called out, "Gather up." The cadets quickly lined up. Mira stood with them like always, calm and silent. Bran spoke loud and clear. "Today we try something new. Each of you will lead a drill. We learn best when we teach." He looked around. "Mira, you start." There was no surprise in his voice this time, no mocking tone. Just trust. Mira stepped forward. She showed a ground defense drill, how to escape a heavy pin using timing, not strength. She moved slow, explaining each part in short words. The cadets followed. Some failed at first but tried again. Mira helped them, correcting with patience. She didn't shout or push. She guided. Even the alien visitors watched with interest through the clear wall panels. After the drill, Bran walked over and stood beside her. "You've trained cadets before?" Mira nodded. "At my old academy, yes." Bran smiled a little. "We could use more of that here." She didn't say anything. She just nodded again. But Bran had one more thing to settle. He turned to the cadets. "This academy is about growth. I made a mistake before. I judged someone too fast. Now I want to finish what I started with respect." The recruits all looked at him. Bran stepped forward and faced Mira. "Let's finish our match. 1 round, clean spar. This time, I'll use what I've learned." Mira looked at him quietly, then nodded, "Yes, coach." The gym grew quiet. Everyone gathered near the sparring mat. Even Commander Hallen appeared, standing near the back, arms crossed. Watching closely, Bran wore a simple training suit, no gear, no pride. Mira tied her belt and stepped forward. They bowed, the assistant. Coach blew the whistle. Bran didn't charge this time. He moved slowly, circling her. His eyes were focused. His stance was lower, more controlled. Mira watched him carefully. He made the first move small steps. Testing her dodge, she responded with grace, dodging slightly, shifting her weight. Bran threw a light jab. Mira blocked and countered, aiming for his shoulder, but Bran turned and escaped. It was a different fight now. Not brute force strategy. Bran smiled. "Much better, right?" Mira gave the smallest smile. "Yes." He stepped in again, faked a left, then went low to grab her leg. She stepped back, redirected his motion, caught his arm, and twisted. But Bran was ready. He turned with her, rolling instead of falling. He got back to his feet in a flash. Recruits cheered. Mira moved again, this time aiming for his center. Bran tried to block, but made a mistake. She stepped under his guard, locked his arm, and gently dropped him to the mat. She didn't slam him. She didn't use power. Just pure control. Bran tapped out. Mira let go and stepped back. Bran lay on the mat for a second, breathing hard. Then he laughed. "Still got a lot to learn from you." Mira offered her hand. Bran took it. She helped him up. The room clapped, not loud but honest. It wasn't about winning now. It was about respect. Commander Hallen walked forward and spoke loud. Enough for all to hear. Fighting is not just about power. It's about knowing when to hold back, when to strike, and when to lead. She turned to Mira. "I want you to lead a team. A real mission team. One that's going off-world." Gasps filled the air. Bran looked surprised. "Commander, you sure?" She still knew. "She's proven herself more than once," Hallen replied. "And I want our best to lead, not our loudest." She looked at Mira. "You're ready?" Mira didn't hesitate. "Yes, Commander." That night, the academy was buzzing with talk. Mira's going to space. She's leading a team already. I want to train under her. But Mira didn't change. She packed her gear quietly, reviewed mission details, practiced her movements before bed. Toma came to her room. "Hey," he said, "you really showed the coach something today." Mira nodded. "He improved. He learned." Toma looked down. "And I learned from you too. Not just how to fight, but how to stay calm." Mira smiled. "That matters more than technique." Toma hesitated. "Will you be back?" "Maybe," she said softly. "But if not, someone else must lead. You're ready." Toma blinked. "Me? You ask good questions. You care about others, and you listen. That's a leader." Toma stood a little taller. The next morning, Mira stood at the launch pad. Her team was small 3 cadets, 1 alien technician, and her Bran came to see her off. "You've changed this place," he said. No, Mira replied. I just reminded them what real strength looks like, Bran chuckled. Safe travels. Champion. She smiled and nodded. Then she stepped onto the ship quiet as always. But now, the whole academy stood in silence, watching her leave, not as a quiet girl, but as the strongest fighter among them all. The ship moved smoothly through space, heading toward a distant planet called Zarian 4. It was a rocky world where Earth had built a small research base to study strange energy signals. But last week, the base had gone silent. No messages. Number. Data. Nothing. Now Mira had been chosen to lead a small team to investigate. Inside the ship, Mira stood in the training room. Her body moved with slow control, practicing silent strikes and defensive holds. The others watched her quietly. They were her team now. Toma, now officially assigned to her squad. Rin, a calm sharpshooter. Leo, a cheerful engineer. And Zuruk, a tall alien from the Varnese race, skilled in tech and defense. Mira finished her movement and looked at the group. From now on, we work as one unit. We watch each other. We learn from each other. They all nodded. Toma smiled. No better person to lead us. Mira nodded back. Let's begin team training. The ship had 2 days before reaching Zarian 4. Mira used every hour wisely. She didn't talk much, but when she did, the others listened. She taught hand-to-hand defense, escape from traps, and how to fight without harming. Zuruk added alien tactics, how to read movement from creatures with extra limbs or sharp tails. Ren taught how to read wind pressure during ambushes. Leo explained how to disable energy traps with tools. Mira trained hard. But she also learned. From her team, she never acted like she knew everything. She watched, she adjusted. She improved. By the second night, the team had grown closer. Around the ship's small dining table, they shared stories. Leo laughed. I thought Mira was just the quiet one in the academy. Then I saw her take down a Zarnak. Rin added, she took him down like folding a coat. Zuruk tilted his head. Your style is rare. Your people call it Jiu-Jitsu? Yes, Mira answered. And it teaches balance before power? Yes, she said again. Zuruk nodded with respect. It is wise. I would like to study it more. Mira looked at them. You all have your strengths. We're strong together, not alone. The next day, the ship entered the orbit of XER Ion-4. The planet was dark gray, with sharp mountains and black valleys. The research base was located near a canyon filled with glowing stones. The base should have had lights, signals life. But it was dark and silent. Still no response, Rin said. Scanning the control panel. Landing in 2 minutes. Leo added. Mira checked her suit and gear. Stay close. No one separates unless I say. The ship landed softly on a flat zone. Beside the base. As the team stepped outside, the air was heavy. The wind blew dust and sharp smells. They reached the base doors. They were open, but the inside was cold and empty. Leo checked a console near the entrance. Power was cut. From the inside. Toma pointed at the ground. Look, drag marks. Mira bent down and examined the marks. Something was pulled, but no signs of blood, no damage. Rin whispered, where is everyone? The base had 12 people. Scientists, technicians, security, but all rooms were empty. Equipment was untouched. Food was still on plates. It was like they had just vanished. Then they heard a noise clink. Clink, tap, tap. Mira raised her hand. Wait! The sound came from the far hallway. They followed carefully. Rin held her weapon. Zuruk scanned for energy signals. At the end of the hallway, they found a locked storage room. The sound came from inside. Leo used his tool to open the door slowly. Inside was a single woman, one of the scientists. She was curled up in the corner. Shaking, her name tag read Dr. Halen. Mira moved forward and knelt beside her. It's okay, you're safe. Dr. Halen looked at her with wide, tired eyes. They came from under the canyon. Who? Mira asked. The creatures, black, silent, like shadows. They dragged everyone down. I hid. I locked the door. They didn't find me. Zuruk looked worried. Something lives. Under the canyon? Dr. Halen nodded. They don't like light. They move fast, and they're smart. Mira stood and looked at her team. We're going into the canyon. We need to find the others. Toma blinked. You think they're still alive? They didn't kill her, Myra said. They may be keeping the rest for something. Rin whispered, then we better move fast. The team helped Dr. Halen into the ship for safety and rest. Then they walked toward the canyon. The rocks glowed softly in blue colors. The wind was quiet here, too quiet. Mira studied the edge and found an opening. There, she pointed, fresh tracks. They followed the path, moving carefully between sharp stone walls. The canyon became darker. Zuruk used a soft light from his helmet. Then something moved in the shadows, a long arm. A pair of yellow eyes. Then silence again. They stopped. Mira raised her hand. Suddenly, a dark creature jumped from the rocks above, aiming straight at Rin. Before anyone could react, Mira dashed forward. She caught the creature mid-air, grabbed its arm, twisted under, and slammed it to the ground with perfect form. The others gasped. The creature hissed, then vanished into smoke. What was that? Leo asked. Not natural, Zuruk said. Shadow type, energy-based. Toma helped Myra up. That was amazing. Mira looked at her hands. It wasn't solid. It shifted. Be careful, Rin said. They're not like anything we've faced before. They moved deeper into the canyon. Every step took them closer to the unknown. But Mira stayed calm. She had faced mocking coaches. She had faced powerful aliens. Now she would face shadows, and she would lead her team through it, step by step, because strength wasn't noise. Strength was control. The canyon grew darker as Mira and her team moved deeper. The strange glowing stones slowly faded. Shadows moved along the walls. The air became cold, and the ground under their feet felt soft, like something had passed through often. Toma checked his scanner. Life signs, just ahead. I think it's the missing scientists. Leo whispered, let's hope we're not too late. Zuruk stopped and raised his arm. Wait, I hear something. They all listened. A soft clicking sound echoed through the narrow walls. Then came a low growl, like wind moving through metal. Suddenly, a shape appeared, dark and fast. It slid across the ground, almost like liquid, then stood tall. A creature made of shadow, with long arms and yellow eyes, stepped out from behind the rocks. Mira stood in front of her team. Stay behind me. The creature hissed and leapt forward. Mira moved faster than anyone expected. She dodged, turned, and caught its arm mid-air. With perfect motion, she brought the creature down using its own speed against it. It hit the ground with a thud but didn't stay down. It melted into black mist and vanished. They don't die, Rin said. They just disappear. Mira narrowed her eyes. We can still slow them, hold them. Toma checked the scanner again. The life signs below us. There's a chamber. Down there, Zuruk stepped forward. I will scan for a safe way down. Mira looked at the path ahead. A narrow tunnel sloped downward, leading into darkness. She turned to her team. We moved together. Quiet steps. Watch the walls. The tunnel led them into a wide underground cave. Strange blue crystals glowed from the ceiling. In the center of the cave were cages made of energy, not metal. Inside, the missing scientists were trapped. They looked tired, but alive. Dr. Halen's voice came from the radio. That's them. You found them. Mira moved closer, but suddenly, more shadows appeared. 5, maybe 6. They stood like guards around the cage. Leo whispered, we can't take them all head on. Mira studied the creatures. We don't Need to. Just enough distraction for me to reach the controls. Zuruk nodded. I can overload the energy bars. I just need 10 seconds. Rin, Myra said. Cover Zuruk. Got it. Toma, stay behind and protect Leo. I'll take the left side. Everyone got into position. Myra moved first, fast, silent. She ran toward the nearest creature, dodging its claws and sweeping its legs. It fell, giving Zuruk space. Rin fired her stun shots, pushing the other shadows back. Zuruk reached the cage control. 8 seconds. Another creature leaped at Myra. She turned and ducked, grabbed its arm, and rolled, flipping it over her shoulder. 5 seconds. More shadows came. One ran toward Toma, but Leo threw a flash grenade. Light exploded through the cave. The creatures screamed and covered their faces. Myra took the chance. She ran to help Zuruk. Another shadow blocked her path, but she used a low kick and brought it down in one clean move. 1 second. Zuruk shouted. The cage powered down. The scientist stumbled out, coughing and weak. We have them, Rin shouted. Fall back. Myra ordered. The team helped the scientists move toward the tunnel. The shadows tried to follow, but Leo dropped another flash grenade, and Zuruk threw a smoke pod. Move! Myra yelled. They ran up the tunnel, one by one, pulling the survivors with them. Back at the top of the canyon, the sun was rising. Light hit the stones, and the shadows behind them hissed and vanished. Myra looked back down the path. Nothing followed. They made it. Everyone was breathing hard. Faces were covered in dust. But they were alive. Dr. Halen ran from the ship and hugged one of the rescued scientists. You're okay, Myra checked her team. Anyone hurt? Only a few bruises, Leo said, smiling. And some sore feet, Zuruk nodded. Mission success, Rin smiled. Thanks to our quiet champion. Myra didn't respond. She simply looked at the rising sun and closed her eyes for a moment. Later, inside the ship, Commander Halen appeared on the screen. Mission report received, she said. All personnel safe. No casualties. Excellent work, team. She looked directly at Myra. And you. Your decisions saved lives. Earth is proud. Myra spoke softly. We work together, no one alone. Halen nodded. You'll be assigned to future missions. But first, return for rest. You've earned it. The screen turned off. Leo laughed. Future missions? Does that mean more shadow? Monsters? Toma grinned. As long as Myra's leading, I'm going. Rin leaned back. Best team I've been part of. Zuruk added, and the most balanced. Myra stood up. We did well, but there's always more to learn. That night, as the ship flew back toward Earth, Myra sat alone near the viewing window. The stars outside blinked silently. Toma came and sat beside her. You saved everyone, he said. Myra didn't look at him. She kept watching the stars. It wasn't just me, Toma nodded. But without you, we wouldn't have made it. He paused. You really are a champion. Myra turned and finally smiled. Champions don't fight to win, they fight to protect. Toma smiled back. Then you're the best kind. Back at Earth Defense Academy, news of Myra's mission spread fast. Even Coach Brand stood in front of the class and said, she proved more than strength, she proved heart. Everyone clapped, but Myra didn't hear it yet. She was still flying through the stars, eyes calm, mind focused, because she knew the universe was full of unknowns, and she was ready for them. The ship glided through space, returning to Earth Defense Academy after the successful mission on Zarian 4. The stars outside sparkled quietly, but inside, the team was full of new energy. Myra sat in the corner, calm as always, watching her teammates laugh and talk. For the first time, she felt a small lightness inside her chest. They had survived together. They had won together. Toma came over and sat beside her. You changed everything. he said softly. Myra looked at him and smiled. We changed everything, together. Back at the academy, the hall was filled with people. Officers, trainers, cadets, and scientists gathered to welcome the team. Commander Hallen stood on the stage, proud and serious. Today, we honor those who faced the unknown and returned victorious, she said. Mira Nalim and her team showed us what true strength means: calm, control, and courage. Applause filled the hall. Coach Brand stepped forward and looked at Myra. I was wrong to mock you, he said. You taught me and all of us an important lesson. Quiet can be stronger than loud. Skill beats force, and respect is earned, not given. Mira nodded quietly, accepting the praise. After the ceremony, Mira walked through the training grounds. Cadets stopped her to ask questions. Young recruits looked up to her, hoping to learn her secret. A boy approached nervously. How do you stay so calm when everything is dangerous? Mira smiled gently. Focus on what you can control. Breathe. Trust yourself and your team. Toma joined them. And remember, strength is not just in muscles, but in your mind and heart. The boy nodded, eyes shining with new hope. That evening, Mira met with Coach Bran in the quiet gym. The place where she had first arrived, where she was mocked, where she proved her worth. Bran looked at her and said, You want to teach, don't you? Myra nodded. I want to help others find their strength. Not just fight better, but live better. Bran smiled and held out his hand. Then let's start tomorrow. Together. Mira shook his hand, feeling the weight of years of pride and new respect in that simple gesture. In the weeks that followed, Mira and Bran worked side by side. The academy changed. Training was no longer just about shouting and force. It became about balance, respect, and control. Mira taught small groups. She showed how to use energy wisely, how to read opponents, and how to stay calm in chaos. Cadets improved faster. Injuries dropped. Confidence grew. Even the aliens training at the FOSS Academy took notice. The peaceful cooperation between species became stronger. One day, Commander Hallen called Mira to her office. We have a new mission, she said. More dangerous than before. But I want you to lead it. Mira didn't hesitate. I'm ready. Hallen smiled. I know you are, because you carry more than skill. You carry heart. Before leaving for the new mission, Mira stood once more at the academy gate. The same gate where she had entered as a quiet stranger. Toma stood beside her. Will you come back? He asked. Myra smiled softly. I always come back. But not just for me, for all of us. They shook hands, not as coach and student, but as equals. As the ship lifted off, Mira looked out at Earth blue, green, alive. She felt a quiet strength inside, louder than any voice. The universe was wide, full of challenges and unknown dangers, but she was ready, because she knew her true power was not in being loud or strong. It was in being calm, controlled, and courageous. It was in being a quiet champion.